Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. So here's one of the many delays. I'm fine. I'm doing great now that my sleep pattern's back on track. But everyone else needed care for a hot minute. So here we are. Yes, Faye? Okay. Everybody's joining the video. Come on up, babe. You want to come up? I know. Oh. Okay, if looks could kill. Oh, the stinky creatures in you. We gotta clean this again, baby. So he's fine. He's recovering. It's all good. So today we're going to talk about the inner knowing and the subconscious patterns, because there's a lot of things that many of us probably understood and knew were going to come to light, but didn't exactly know how or what or when or why. So let's start with the Diddy thing. Let's start off with a trigger warning. This is not happiness. So if you're going through it right now and can't take anymore, this ain't the video. It's not it. Click it off. Go take care of yourself. Go love yourself, or whatever else. I am not an all positive vibe kind of gal, so I'm not going to vet anything out of this. And don't go find an all positive only type of thing, because if you need to look at the wound in order to heal. But if you can't look at any more freaking wounds, I completely understand. So, that being said, there's going to be a lot of trigger wound things in this episode. No escape. So, with the whole Diddy thing, the Vatican paying out now as a total for guilty pleas only $1.5 billion. That's for guilty pleas only, number one. Just the guilty pleas. That's it. That's all. And I'll give you a moment to breathe that in and register what the world could do with $1.5 billion. And every single time somebody donated to a monotheistic program, indoctrination, binding spell, whatever the heck you want to call it, that's what they're funding. They're not funding faith. They're not funding a Scarface Sky Daddy. That's what they're funding. So you have to remember, these are people that are not only in a trauma bond, but they willingly gave up their faculties in order to ease the chemical terror, which is cortisol. So that produces, so when you get threatened, or a perception of threat comes into your field of energy, adrenaline and cortisol are released into the central nervous system. When you don't die, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins are flooded into that mixture as well. And that's a very, very addictive chemical cocktail, hence the bond, the binding. That's why they call it that. It's and we think that the people that came before us were some sort of morons or idiots or heathens and stupid. No, they were very intelligent people. We are probably the dumbest people to have ever roamed the planet. And I say that generously. So when we're talking about this subconscious undercurrent screaming through a binding spell, the reason why this was conceptualized, if you read up on your historical magical textbooks, which there are plenty. I don't know why everybody's like, oh, it's so mysterious. Go to the library. So the reason why these need to be created is because back in the day, they didn't have things like prison systems. They really didn't have much of anything for punishment before patriarchy. I know. I'm talking pre-Greco-Roman. There weren't a whole lot of criminals because people had what they needed to survive and thrive. People were not desperate in any way, shape, or form, so they didn't need to break any laws. They didn't need to be in any way, shape, or form out of alignment with themselves. It wasn't required because there's just no need for it. You could find your multi-dimensional fractal in this ecosystem that was created with the matriarchy. That was what it facilitated. You could go out and do what you needed to do in the community and feel a sense of fulfillment and purpose. That's what a matriarchy does. I know. Okay, so before that patriarchal thing, there was less need for it. But when it did come about, they created a binding spell, which would produce in that person who could have been like addicted to substances or addicted to stealing or addicted to things with animals and children, all that good biblical stuff. So it's a chemical compound that gets produced in the brain and puts you in a state of satiation for a hot minute. It doesn't work on a continuum. You need to, how you doing, buddy? All right, baby. So it doesn't work continuously. You have to keep reinstating. So hence the religion, to bind again, because it needs to be repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Otherwise it's going to stop working. Okay, so what do we know about trauma in the body? When it's repeated for long periods, extended periods of time, say like 18 years, it starts to really cause major problems when it comes to CPTSD. And then it's an erosion of the body system, because all disease starts in the mind. Dun, dun, dun. I know. The white coats are going to have to suck a lot of bags of dirty ones. Anyway. So this is the whole system. I'm not going for just the leader of the tree that's now being uprooted. I am going for the whole freaking tree. We need a whole different tree. I want to plant something else. Okay. So in the beginning was the word. Have humans always had words? Nope. Do you know what we had? We had alignment. We had intuition. We had frequency, energy, and vibration that we could tap into. And we would find our tribe by finding the same people that were on the same frequency, energy, and vibration, and reading their soul, aka telepathy. It should scare you. It should terrify you. Absolutely. How much we gotta dial it back. So that's why all of this inner work that's being done by all you courageous, amazing human beings, I truly am just blown away, because if it weren't being done, if the hard work wasn't being done, we would not be seeing all of this colorful metaphor things fall. So when we're dealing with the subconscious undercurrents of the situation, the seed of that subconscious undercurrent needs to be taken into account, okay? Because we are told that there was an apple seed planted, and we're coming up with, I don't have a good metaphor here. Did not think this through. we're coming out with oranges, okay? We didn't want oranges. Oranges are good for you. They're fantastic. They're used for all sorts of amazing things. But we wanted an apple tree, and we're coming up with oranges. And we keep scratching our heads as to why oranges keep getting manifested on our apple tree, okay? Because we didn't plant an apple seed. We planted an orange seed, okay? So stop scratching your head. You didn't come from an ape. Knock it off. Stop scratching your head. We planted an orange seed, okay? And the oranges are now being harvested, okay? Stop getting mad about the fact that there's manifestation of oranges right now, because that's what you planted. That's the original seed, okay? All my garden freaks out there who get this, I love you. So when we are faced with the reality that we are not producing, we are not manifesting what it is that our hearts desire, we become in disarray. How do we do that? We separate, we alienate, we drive away, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is the natural process. I don't have any control over this. Nobody has any control over this. This is what has to happen. The separation that they've created between us is now manifesting in different modalities, modus operandi, whatever you want to call it. It's now functioning differently because this self-isolation that we have put ourselves in nobody says to themselves when they're 18, you know, I'm just going to abandon every last human being that I have known for these years. I'm just going to leave them all behind and pretend like they didn't exist. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. It has become so intolerable for so many humans to remain in that energy that they literally have to ghost everyone. Okay? This is the manifestation. This is the result of having to harvest the oranges, because we don't want oranges right now. I mean, we should be eating oranges right now because when the weather turns colder, you should be getting that vitamin C3 system. But lemons are good too. Limes are the best. But when you have the reality hit that your apple is now an orange, you have to go back to the seed. And the seed is in the word. And unfortunately, the seed is, I think I used this analogy before, the seed has been treated like a Monsanto seed, where there's a kernel of truth, a kernel of light in the center of that, but it's been so coded and so manipulated and so corrupted that that seed now appears completely different. And so the seed, unfortunately, is very, how do I put this in modern day times? Has a very TMZ vibe to it. So that the seed is giving us all the dirt and the trash of what used to happen. It's basically, for lack of a better word, it's basically like all the TMZ articles that have ever gone out, videos, whatever else, compiled into one book. Book is in the monotheistic cults. Okay, it's basically TMZ. With porn added in, a lot of it, horrifically so. So when people say that the Vatican has the largest collection of porn on the planet, they're letting us view it via the Bible, via the Torah, via the Quran, and the Hamal, whatever the subtext of it is called. So even if you read those, though, if your red flags aren't going up, you probably need a binding spell. When the subconscious undercurrent is now exposed for the umpteenth time, we got two choices. We're gonna do the love and light thing and let everybody have a pass and continue on uplifting this, or we can have okay, If you are going to support in any way, shape, or form via your words, your actions, your whatever, monetary, whatever the heck it is, that's fine. But now I'm going to report you for child abuse and block you. Okay? If we continue to just apathetically let this pass by continuously because, oh, they're human beings. Excuse me. The people being abused and tortured, mutilated, raped, and murdered are also human. Okay? So, and there's a lot of people out there that are just looking for clout and just want to use the God word because it appeals to so many people, blah, 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 blah. Okay? No. Don't give them time, attention, pentacles, money, resources, nothing. Okay? Block them. Explain to them what it is. Okay, so here's the other thing. You need to let them know what they're doing with their vital life force energy, their pentacles, and whatever else, and encouraging and allowing other people to do the same. You need to let them know. Okay? Send them to the Septuagus and a freaking, I can't remember the acronym. Lexilogos, I think it's called, lexilogos.com, and they can figure it out for themselves. Send them that information. I don't prefer to use Lady Babylon because that guy does not need any more shit in his life, but it just needs to get out. There needs to be an exposure. There needs to be an underlining, absolutely not. Clear, cut, and dry. And as long as, how do I put this? We are going to be all slaves, all of us, if we do not free everyone. It is the age of consent. If that's what they want, then so be it. But there will be consequences for those choices. And no, we don't need to go 1933 on these people. It's not a requirement. They will see. They believe it's their end days, so that's what it's going to be. And it's not, it doesn't need to be a 1933 thing. It does not need to be that, because the body will no longer facilitate that with Pluto and Aquarius. It will no longer have that longevity for allowing the cortisol to exist in the body systems. It won't allow for it. So when we're talking 40 years of cortisol exposure to break down the systems in the body and give you severe disease, we're talking more of like a 4-year span. Okay? And that's the inner knowing. I don't like it. I hate it. It sucks. Because, these are people that have been told from day one that they're doing good. That they're doing good on the planet. And this is what they need to do in order to do good on the planet. So I understand that plight. I was there, dude. I had to fucking burn my bumhole all the way through all these blasted portals. And if I can do it, you can do it. And everyone else can do it too. We just need to be there to support those willing to walk through the portals. So we hold our torches, we keep our flames. We keep our flames, and we hold the torch to the truth. People can look and see for what it is and consent as they will, okay? We are not required to put out our torches for other people's comfort, and we are not allowed to set people on fire because of their choices, okay? They will feel like they've been set on fire, but we didn't set them on fire. We simply showed them the truth. How they choose to respond to that is totally up to them. We are not here to bow down and cower to people who commit such atrocious things with their vital life force energy, whether knowingly or not. It's not an issue anymore. This needs to end. It needs to stop, and this is the path forward. You give them consent. Consent, consent, consent. We are in the age of consent. You give them the information and the education they need on these topics in order to make a thoroughly informed decision in order to move forward. And I am not kidding you. It will drop to minimal amounts. Minimal. Okay, and the other thing we need to do is start advocating for people to get what they need. Okay? I don't know what else to do, but we need to start, demanding the billionaires start helping people that are homeless, going hungry, whatever the heck it is, because then the crime rates will drop. These people won't be in prison because they'll have things that they need. Why this is such a difficult concept for people to Anyway, so that's one of my hot buttons. Like, it's self-explanatory. It's self-explanatory. And people get so freaking livid. Oh, they're freeloaders. What in the F is a billionaire? Do you think these people came up with these creative ideas on their own? No. Look at the Kardashians. Taylor Swift stealing stuff. Beyonce stealing stuff. Everybody's taken from everybody else. And I don't know why it's just the females getting called out for that. But everyone is stealing people's work. Did you know P. Diddy has to pay... what's his face? Sting, like thousands of dollars every single solitary time that Every Breath You Take song is played. That because he asked for the rights. Sting said no, and he did it anyway. So Sting took him to court, and Diddy's got to pay him thousands of dollars every single time that song gets played. Cute, huh? Okay. These are thieves. These are not people to look up to. Nobody should have that. Okay, that's a different video. These are not people to be looking up to. We don't need to worship anything. We honor that which feeds the soul. So when people are out there doing real artwork, blah, 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 and just want enough to freaking live, those are the people you honor, okay? When they are producing the art that invokes perspective, that invokes a meaningful, emotional shift in the patterns of your own existence for the greater good, the highest good of all, not the greater good, the highest good of all. I apologize, I misspoke. So the highest good of all, okay? And you need to include yourself in that highest good of all, because this whole thing includes you. This multi-dimensional fractal ecosystem includes you. And so the path forward is not becoming a guru, it's not making a shit ton of blah, blah, on the whatever the freaking it is teaching others how to be their own guru, teaching others how to heal themselves, teaching others, empowering others to see their way through the life without having to completely and totally give up and hand their autonomy, sovereignty over to some authority figure who, in a lot of cases, unfortunately has no idea what the hell they're doing. So, educate yourselves and empower others to do the same. Go to your libraries. The library is free. Get a library card. Go use your library. And if you can, get the physical books. Get the physical books. Just get the physical books. It's safer that way, getting a physical book. Because then you have a reference point, and we need to make sure that authors stay authentic. We need to make sure that those people also get supported and they can eat and whatever else off the current system we have. There's no reason why people should have to be starving artists. That's insanity, okay? There's no reason for that. We need a completely different system. I know. Lady, you're way too ahead of the game. Oh, bite me. So, I know. I hear ya. I can hear the North Korean in the background. Oh my God. That's why the whole system needs to go, guys. That's why the whole system needs to go. Because if you're not in a matriarchal system, you're screwed. You need to take down the patriarchy. And I kind of hope nobody from that particular Greek community comes and sees this, because they're probably not. Greeks were patriarchal. Uh-oh. They were not a matriarchal society. as much as I love Pluto as a Scorpio stellium, being in love with a dead man, he was not a nice human when it came down to being kind to women. So, we're just going to have to feel our way through this. We're going to have to navigate with our intuition. So bring those things online with this Scorpio new moon. Ask for the things you want to increase. Focus on creating the environment to facilitate the growth you want. Find your goal. Enforce your environment. Enforce it. Force it. I know. So when you have a paradigm that you want to step into, and you've consulted with yourself and whatever the heck else you need to consult with, as far as the highest good of all, you move that forward with an intuitive pattern. And you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to overanalyze it. Your spirit and everything that supports it will come online. It'll just instinctively happen. You have to start trusting that. You have to start believing that. And then it's not enough to believe. You have to act upon it. Okay? So when we're telling ourselves that women and children should not be drugged and abused in atrocious ways, we need to put action around that. Not enough to say the words. It's not enough to believe it in our heart of hearts. It's not enough. You have to put action around it. So start reporting those people. It sounds extreme, but it's because you are not letting the rubber meet your road. You have to have it meet the road. It's got to happen. Okay? And it's not persecution. It's sticking up for those who cannot stick up for themselves. Okay. Cannot stress that enough. There has to be action behind it. And if that means ghosting your religious family members, that's what that means. Yep. I cannot abide. You give them all the intel and then say, it's your choice to consent or not. Peace out, Girl Scout. Okay? Because if you stick around, it doesn't matter which way it goes. It doesn't matter. We all know that. It doesn't matter which way it goes. Whether they choose to stay or choose to not. You will be painted as that whatchamacallit, that shall not be named. Okay? You will be painted as that, and it's never going to go away in their brain. Okay? So this is what we're talking about when we're talking villain eras. Right, Maka. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about getting your villain era. It's okay to be the villain in somebody else's story, but you know, if you get to save people from whatever the heck it is, so be it. And that's the uncomfortable part of it, is you might not be able to see it right away. But with the P. Diddy thing and the church thing, and everybody in my environment needing some serious help, so all I could do is snuggle and do some contemplation and reflections. This is what I was called to do. It feels right. It feels good. I'm okay with it. It's kind of like unloading the 10 of Wands. So I will try to do a collective read today in a hot minute when he's satiated with his snuggles. And then, yeah, hopefully I'll do another video next week. Still waiting on a few little tidbits to arrive. So the demonstration and new path can continue on or start a new, whatever, new beginnings over here, Scorpio. Okay, I'm going to buzz off. Say bye-bye, boo-boo. Okay, keep your flame. I'll see you next time.